Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, Putin rides in style. He drives, or at least he rides in a Mercedes, and he's going to visit the occupied territories, correct? Now he's in Crimea, and he crosses the bridge from one side to the other one in a German car, and Deutsche Wagen, right? Deutsche Wagen, Mercedes-Benz. So Reuters let us know that in December 5th, 2022, Putin drives across Crimea bridge in a Mercedes. Very important to know that it's a Mercedes. Why? Those Germans must be punished. Is it not? He's not driving in his what was the name of that? Aurus? Is that what it? Aurus, the car that he usually drives, the presidential limousine made by the Russians, built by the Russians. So maybe they thought that if he's going to travel with a Mercedes, the Germans are not going to blow their own cars up. President Vladimir Putin on Monday, today, drove a Mercedes across the Crimean bridge linking southern Russia to the annexed Crimean Peninsula, less than 2 months since an explosion tore through one of Kremlin's chief showcase infrastructure projects. That's a very, it's an impressive achievement of the human beings, don't you think? The 12-mile, 19-kilometer road and rail bridge, which was personally opened by Putin in 2018, was bombed on October 8th in an attack Russia said was carried out by Ukraine. Putin's accompanied by Deputy Prime Minister Murat Kushnulin was shown on state television behind the wheel of a Mercedes. Oh, so he was driving and asking questions about where the attack took place. And I'm quoting, "We are driving on the right-hand side, Putin said as he drove across the bridge. The left side of the bridge, he said, as I understand it, is in working condition, but nevertheless, it needs to be completed. It still suffered a little. We need to bring it to an ideal state," Putin said. Putin also walked along parts of the bridge, people's largest, to inspect sections sections that are still visibly scorched. Ukraine never claimed responsibility for the bombing of the bridge on the morning of 8th of October, a day after Putin's 70th birthday. Russia's Federal Security Service said the attack was organized by Ukrainian military intelligence. The explosion wrecked one side of the bridge, temporarily halting traffic across the Kerch Bridge. Russia in 2014 annexed Crimea through referendum of the people, the will of the people that we like so much, and we applied that in Kosovo, but somehow in Crimea it's not considered because and not valid because it's done by the Russians, and since Russians are bad people, then obviously the referendum is bad because the Russians intimidated the population. That's why. That's what these guys tell us, and these guys always tell us the truth. So yeah, and I will yeah. All right, so we go here. So annexed Crimea, which was transferred from Soviet Russia to Soviet Ukraine. So it was taken from Russia when it was Soviet Socialist Republic, right, to Ukraine in 1954 by the Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev and recognized by Russia in 1994 after the collapse of the USSR. Well, things are a little bit more complicated than they seem. Ukraine has vowed to return Crimea, which relies on the bridge for supplies. Putin's ally, Arkady Rotenberg. Wow, Rotenberg. I gotta check this guy's name. What do you think? Is he a Zelensky? Rotenberg is for me the name anyway. So I will check him. Let me just give me some time to finish this thing. Putin's ally, Arkady Rotenberg company built the vast structure. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Just, I want to always know who's who, what's what. Putin has long lauded the project, boasting at one point that Russian tsars and Soviet leaders had dreamed of building it but never did. But he did. Yes, yes, yes. Quite an achievement for a poor country of Russia, right? Like Russia. So let's see Mr. Rothenberg. Okay, I'm going to look him up. Why am I right? Because I'm not wrong. Oh my God, Jesus, nothing wrong with this guy. It's just like curious that these guys are the victims all the time and they are there. Anyway, so we find in the Wikipedia, you see, the easiest, fastest way to do it. Rothenberg, right, is of Jewish ancestry. He was born in 1951 in Leningrad, where his father, Roman, again, when you hear that in Ukraine or in Romania or in, how do you call it, Russia, if it's that Roman, the first name doesn't sound very well. Well, so, what do you want? That's what is this guy. Nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, Rothenberg and Vladimir Putin both joined Anatoly Rakhlin's Sambo club. Rakhlin Sambo. Sambo is a Soviet combat sport. Very, very efficient. Very good. Very good. All these guys who are in MMA right now, most of them famous ones. Let's get Khabib or Fedor and many others. Now Islam Makhachev. They all practiced Sambo. They were world champions and whatnot. It's an hated fight style by those guys with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and other wrestlers and all that because you know, instead of saying no, man, it's basically the practitioner who you know, but also the style who helps you prepare, giving you the opportunity to compete under certain kind of rules that would get you more prepared for fighting with less rules, which MMA wants to be. But if you look at UFC compared with Pride, people who might be familiar with that understand that Pride was more freedom over there, more freedom to fight, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so Putin drives with on a Mercedes. That's very bold, I would say. He's going to visit, was it Donbas, I think? The occupied territory is going to show up over there. And that shows, or at least I think he wants to show, that everything is secure and safe and that nobody should panic. And pretty courageous, I would say. But well, accidents, click, happen. We'll find out. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.